Good day and welcome to JNN's Headline News. I'm Cody-Ann Barrett. In the headlines at this time, a curfew has been imposed in Cassava P. St. Andrew, which is reeling from an upsurge in violence. It will remain in effect until 6 o'clock Saturday evening. There has been increased tension in Cassava P since Saturday when gunmen opened fire on dancehall entertainer Mavado. The entertainer, who is overseas, is expected to return to the island on the weekend. In the meantime, the police have extended the curfew in sections of Gregory Park, St. Catherine, which have also seen an increase in violence. It will also end at 6 o'clock Saturday evening. School administrators are adamant of the possibility that they may be required to monitor the entry of certain sugary drinks into their schools and confiscate them from students where necessary. President of the Jamaica Association of Secondary Schools, David Wilson, argues that the group supports the initiative for healthier drinks for students, but the monitoring and confiscation activities will cause too many problems. Mr. Wilson asserts that the focus should be on drink manufacturers rather than on school administrators. Earlier this week, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton announced that a policy is to be implemented in January 2019 that will cause schools to restrict the provision of drinks that contain a certain level of sugar. Opposition spokesman on education Ronald Thwaites has warned the government against burdening school officials with the job of confiscating sugary drinks when restrictions come into effect in January 2019. Mr. Thwaites suggested that the focus instead be on working with manufacturers to ensure drinks made for children meet the required standard. He is calling for a policy for the use of more local produce in food fed to children. Minister of Transport and Mining Robert Montague said the government is committed to saving the jobs of over 1,000 workers at the UC Russell-owned Windalco plant in Ewerton, St. Catherine. In a statement to the House of Representatives on Thursday, Mr. Montague reminded his parliamentary colleagues that the sanctions imposed by the United States on Russian giant UC Rusal remained a threat to the local arm of the company. The Jamaican government will intensify discussions with the U.S. Treasury to secure a waiver for Jamaica. The talks are progressing favorably, but the government offers no guarantees. Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, Major Clive Davis, reminds persons that those living in low-lying flood-prone areas can be forcibly removed under the law once a threat has been identified. Major Davis says engagement with residents as well as proper coordination of the evacuation efforts, starting with warning and public education systems, have already commenced in several communities. The 2018 Atlantic hurricane season is projected to be near or above normal, with 10 to 16 named storms, 5 to 9 hurricanes, and 1 to 4 major hurricanes. The first step in the legal battle for the National Identification System NIDS is set to begin on Friday in the Supreme Court. People's National Party General Secretary Julian Robinson is challenging the constitutionality of sections of the National Identification and Registration Act. He says the act, among other things, infringes on the right to security of the person, equality before the law, privacy, and due process. Mr. Robinson is seeking a declaration from the court that the particular sections of the act are null and void and should be struck down. And in international news, chef, storyteller, and writer Anthony Bourdain, who took TV viewers around the world to explore culture, cuisine, and the human condition for nearly 2 decades, has died. CNN confirmed Mr. Bourdain's death on Friday and said the cause of death was suicide. He was 61 years old. Mr. Bourdain was in France working on his CNN series called Parts Unknown. He was found unresponsive in his hotel room. And that's it for Headline News. Join us at 8 p.m. for more details in Frontline News. I'm Cody-Ann Barrett, wishing you pleasant viewing.